I just looked at my YouTube channel and it's been 23 hours since I made a video. So the time this video is made and downloaded, it have been 24 hours since I made a video. And so since it's a quiet night, it is 8:59 at night here in West Michigan. It is 75 degrees inside this house. It is September the 25th. Tomorrow is a Monday. Today is a Sunday. Today I wrote in my September 2016 diary. Once again, I didn't really write much. I wrote 2 pages. I ended on page 806. Usually I stop writing around 3:30, 4 o'clock. Now sometimes at night, if I'm here by myself, my wife is at work. My wife's a night nurse. She works from 8 to 8, 12-hour shifts. She's a rapid response nurse. Sometimes I'll get in the mood to write, but usually I don't. Usually I end around 3 o'clock. Kind of a creature of habit. So now it's 9 o'clock, and I've been sitting here reading Serena, a novel by Rash. I copied off some information about Rash. It says here, Rash, the writer of Serena and other novels, short stories, he's written poetry. It says here about Rash, has lived in southern Appalachian Mountains since the mid-90s. Rash's family has lived in the southern Appalachian Mountains since the mid-1700s, and it is this region that is the primary focus of his writing. Rash grew up in Bowling Spring, North Carolina, and graduated from Gardner-Webb College and Clemson University. He holds the John Parrish Chair in Appalachian Studies at Western Carolina University. Rash is the author of 9 books: The Night the New Jesus Fell to Earth, short stories; Casualties, short stories; Eureka Mill, poetry; and Among Believers, poetry; Raising the Dead, poetry; One Foot in Eden, novel; Saints at the River, novel; The World Made Straight; and Serena, which is what I'm reading now, a novel. His poetry and fiction have appeared in over 100 journals, magazines, and anthologies, including the Longman Anthology of Southern Literature, Western Wind, Swanee Review, the Hale Review, the Georgia Review, the Kenyon Review, New England Review, Southern Review, and Shenandoah and Poetry. In 1994, Rash was awarded the NEA Poetry Fellowship, and he won the Sherwood Anderson Prize in 1996. In 2001, he won the Novella Festival Novel Award. In 2002, the Forward Magazine's Gold Medal in Literary Fiction for the novel One Foot in Eden. The novel was also named Appalachian Book of the Year. His second novel, Saints at the River, was named Fiction Book of the Year by both the Southern Book Critics Circle and the Southeastern Booksellers Association. In 2005, Rash won an O. Henry Award for his story Speckled Trout and received the James Still Award by the Fellowship of Southern Writers. And it goes down here, it mentions that Serena, his novel that I'm reading, was in 2008 Publishers Weekly Best Book of 2008, fiction category. Serena, Amazon 100 Best Books of 2008, Editors Picks, the 7th position. The New York Times 10 Favorite Books of 2008, Christian Science Monitor Best Books of 2008 Serena was on that list in 2008. The Washington Post Book Best Fiction of 2008 list. The San Francisco Chronicle 50 best fiction poetry books of 2008, and it was a Penn and Faulkner Award finalist in 2009. So, like I said, I've been really enjoying reading Faulkner, not Faulkner, but reading Serena, the novel by Rash. So I was reading this tonight because I watched professional football today, and this morning I read, and this afternoon I read this new book, Hermeneutics as Apprenticeship, How the Bible Shapes Our Interpretive Habits and Practices. I'm on the chapter where he goes to Deuteronomy, the book of Deuteronomy. It's chapter 2, In Your Mouth and in Your Heart, Deuteronomy and the Hermeneutics of Law. So I was reading in the Bible this afternoon, Deuteronomy, which is the 5th book of the Pentateuch. You have the 5 books of Moses, which is Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. That's the Pentateuch. And so I was reading, several years ago I read through a commentary on Deuteronomy, and I've read books on Deuteronomy. It's it's a really important book in understanding the whole of the Bible. So I was reading Deuteronomy this afternoon along with my new book, and I really like these verses. I was reading in Deuteronomy, in chapter 10 of Deuteronomy. And now, Israel, what does the Lord thy God require of thee, but to fear the Lord thy God, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul, to keep the commandments of the Lord and his statutes which I command thee to this day for thy good. Behold, the heaven and the earth, heaven of heavens is the Lord's thy God, the earth also, and with all that therein is. Only the Lord had delight in thy fathers to love them, and he chose their seed after them, even you above all people, as it is this day. Circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart, and be no more stiff-necked. For the Lord your God is a God of gods, the Lord of lords, a great God, a mighty and terrible, and regardeth not persons, nor taketh reward. He does execute the judgment of the fatherless and widow, and loveth the stranger, and giving him food and raiment. Love ye therefore the stranger, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. Thou shalt fear the Lord thy God, even him thou shalt serve, and to him thou shalt cleave, and swear by his name. He is thy praise, and he is thy God, that has done for thee these great and terrible things, which thy eyes have seen. Thy fathers went down into Egypt with 70 persons, and now the Lord thy God has made thee as the stars of heaven for multitude. Those were that really blessed me today when I read that. Like it says in the Word of God, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And unfortunately, we do not see the fear of God anymore in our society, in American culture, and throughout the world. What we see is constant rebellion against God. We see constant blasphemy of God. We see people rejecting God's law, which he gave for our good. So it's kind of sad. And that's one thing about, you read Serena, you see the consequences in the lives of the main characters. For example, the George Pemberton and Serena, when they cast behind their backs the law of God and they lift themselves up in pride, it brings about their terrible fall. So also I was thinking, in reading Serena, there's a part in here where the main characters, primarily George Pemberton and Serena, they go on a hunt for a bear. And in this episode in the novel, they're out hunting for this bear, and the bear attacks George Pemberton. And you read this. It says here about this bear hunt and this attack of the bear who attacks George Pemberton. It says here, it came into the meadow between Serena and Pemberton. The bear paused a moment and swatted the largest Plott off its hind legs. Plott is a type of hunting dog, P-O-L-T-T. Plott off its hind legs, so it's talking about a hunting dog. The bear's claws raking the dog's flank. The big Plott laid on the snow a moment before rising and attacking again. The bear's paw caught the dog on the same flank, only lower this time. The Plott seemed tumbling into the air. It landed away, the hide on the dog's right side shred thin as a shoestring. The bear rushed onward and straight towards Pemberton, only 20 yards away, when he saw the man swerve just as Pemberton pulled the trigger. The bullet hit between the shoulder and the chest, enough to make the animal fall sideways as his right legs buckled. The hounds leaped upon the bear, draping the creature's mid-quarters. The bear rose onto its back legs, and the dogs rose with it like pelts hung around the bear's belly. The animal fell forward, steadied itself for a moment before charging towards Pemberton, whose second shot clipped at Plott's ear before entering the bear's stomach. There was no time for a third shot. The bear rose and pressed its bulk against Pemberton, and he felt himself swallowed within a vast, weighted shadow. The rifle slipped from Pemberton's hand, and as the bear clutched him, instinct pushed Pemberton deeper into the bear's grasp. So close the creature's claws could no more than rake the back of his duck cloth hunting jacket. The dogs leaped upon them, lunging and snapping at Pemberton as if believing him now part of the bear. Pemberton's head pressed deep against the bear's chest. Pemberton felt the creature's fur and flesh and breastbone beneath the quickening beat of the heart, and the heat stroked by that heart. He smelled the bear, the musk of its fur, its spilling blood, smelled the forest itself and the earthy linger of acorn each time the bear exhaled. Everything, even the cries of the dogs, became slower, more distinct and heightened. He felt the whole of the bear's bulk as it teetered, slightly regained balance. Felt also the bear's front left limb batting his shoulder as it slashed at the hounds. The bear growled, and Pemberton heard the sound gather deep in the bear's chest before rumbling upward into the throat and out the mouth. The Plott circled and leaped, holding onto the bear with teeth and claw a few moments before falling away, only to circle and leap against the red bones, yapping. Red bones are another type of hunting dogs. Red bones yapping and darting in to snap at the legs. Then Pemberton felt the barrel of a rifle against his side, felt its reverberations as the weapon fired. The bear staggered 2 steps backward. As Pemberton fell, he turned and saw Serena place a second shot above the bear's eyes. The creature wavered a moment, then toppled to the ground and disappeared under the molding quilt of dogs. Pemberton laid on the ground as well, unsure as if he had been shoved by the bear or simply fallen. He didn't move until the side of his face, pressed into the snow, began to numb. With the help of his forearm, Pemberton raised his head. For a few moments he watched Galloway as the Highlander stood amid the quabbling pack, leashing the hounds so Vaughn could drag them off the bear one at a time. Footsteps crunched toward Pemberton, then stopped. Serena kneeled beside him, her face keen as she brushed snow off his face and shoulders. After the sheer physiology of the bear's embrace, he felt a kind of lightness, as if his body had been set gently upon the calmest water. So that's I thought I really enjoyed reading that, and it reminded me of a bear, the story of the bear in William Faulkner's collected of stories, the Down Go Down Moses. And in here you have a story called The Bear. And in this you have also the story of a bear attack. I won't read it tonight, but I recommend that you read this story, The Bear. I read it many years ago, and when I was reading Serena in this part about the bear attacking Pemmican and the hunt, it reminded me, Go Down Moses and the story, The Bear. So that's what's on my mind tonight. Right now I'm hearing it's thundering outside. It's going to rain. So yeah, so tomorrow's a Monday. I'll probably go to thrift stores tomorrow if it's not raining. I can't drive in rain, snow, any kind of bad weather. I have anxiety issues. So yeah, so I'm hoping you had a good Sunday and a good week. Until next time, bye.